Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please stay standing for a moment of silence.
Coming up on today's show, I share my C-SPAN documentary.
And we have several important announcements, so get ready because RNE-TV Live starts now. Today is Friday, January 27th, 2023. I'm Layla Price.
And I'm Zoe Beecraft. Today is National Holocaust Remembrance Day.
Let's get right into today's announcements. The Media Center would like to help you boost your vocabulary power by sharing ACT Vocabulary Word of the Day. Today's word of the day is demean, which means to cause a severe loss in the dignity of or respect for something or someone. For example, his comments about women were very demeaning. Boys soccer tryouts are January 30th and 31st at 4:30 on the soccer fields behind the football stadium. Any students interested in soccer conditioning prior to the tryouts should contact Coach Daniels at damondaniels@bellsouth.net. Girls soccer tryouts are January 30th through February 1st from 4:15 to 6 o'clock on the stadium field. Come ready to play. For more information, contact Coach Mills at jmills@richland2.org. Football conditioning is happening now. People that are interested in playing, please email Coach Wilson or come to the stadium at 4:15. Conditioning will be Monday through Thursday. Boys tennis practice is after school at 4 p.m. Monday through Thursday on the tennis courts. If you have any questions, please contact Coach Domino at dominobullwear@gmail.com or Coach Kennedy at lkennedy@richland2.org. The Silver Cadet Band program is hosting its inaugural high school drumline competition tomorrow. Please come out and show your support for your peers and students during this event. Tickets can be purchased via the QR code on the flyer. The band hopes to see a sea of orange and blue in attendance this Saturday. The Literary Magazine is now accepting art and writing submissions. Art submissions include 2D, 3D, photography, and digital artwork. Writing submissions include poems, short stories, fiction, and nonfiction, as well as song lyrics. QR codes for the submission forms are posted around the school, as well as in teachers' classrooms. If you have any questions, please contact Dixie Johnson at 100-387-41@richland2.org. We'll be right back after this break.
Welcome back. Prom tickets are now on sale. Tickets may be purchased from the fees office during lunch, before school, or after school. Tickets are currently $50 and will increase at the end of each month. Our theme this year is the Masquerade. See your junior house reps for updates. Softball conditioning is happening now at RNE on the softball field, Monday through Thursday from 4:15 to 6:15. Tryouts are January 30th from 4:15 until 6:15 and January 31st from 4:15 until 6:15 at the RNE softball field. Athletes must have all paperwork uploaded to Big Teams, formerly Planet HS. Please place all plastic bottles, aluminum cans, and paper in the blue recycling bins in your classrooms or green rolling bins in the halls. Make sure the bottles and cans are completely emptied, don't place any food in the bins, don't bag items, and all contents must be loose. Teachers are responsible for emptying blue bins recyclables into green bins. Green bins are emptied every other Tuesday or when full. The College Center is sponsoring a free college tour for seniors to Allen University and Benedict College on Wednesday, February 15th. The bus will leave from RNE at 8:50 a.m. and is scheduled to return by 12:30 p.m. Permission forms are available in the College Center, room A109, and in the Senior Google College classroom. The deadline to return permission forms is today by 1:30 p.m. Please contact Mrs. James with any questions. PCA dance auditions for the Prince of Egypt Ballet are Wednesday, February 1st during first and second lunch in the dance room. Please come to whichever lunch block fits your schedule. Please wear dance clothes such as leotards, tights, and leggings, and bring ballet or jazz shoes. Every year, RNE-TV completes documentaries for the C-SPAN Student Cam Documentary Contest. Over the next 2 weeks, we will show you our documentaries. Students were asked to produce a 6-minute documentary using C-SPAN footage addressing a theme. This year's theme was, if you were a newly elected member of Congress, what issues would be your first priority and why? Today's documentary was produced by myself and it addresses the topic of female autism diagnosis. This is Liam. Liam is 4 years old, however, he has little communication other than a few simple phrases. He makes little to no eye contact with his teacher and classmates, displays repetitive behavior such as hand flapping, has a strong fixation on trains, and often gets upset over changes in routine. Looking at these specific traits, a teacher or specialist would likely agree that Liam meets the criteria for autism spectrum disorder. Liam then receives a formal diagnosis of ASD.
So basically what that means is that from the time an autistic person is born, their brain processes information differently. So autistic people, our senses tend to work differently, we tend to communicate differently.
Now let's take a look at Emma. Emma is also 4 years old and displays some of the characteristics of autism spectrum disorder. However, her symptoms present in a different way than Liam's. Emma is often reserved and prefers to play alongside other children rather than with her peers, and she is often overwhelmed by environmental stimuli such as lighting and sound. Her teacher overlooks her traits as being shy since she often presents as well-behaved and feels as if she will grow out of it sooner or later. She is also really passionate about animals and will share facts about her favorites as a way of conversing with one another. Her teacher is admired by her intense knowledge of animals and claims she is a gifted student. However, as Emma gets older, she becomes intensely aware of her difficulty with social communication and coping with sensory stimuli such as loud sounds, so she proceeds to start masking her traits as a way to fit in with her peers. As she enters her teen years, she becomes burned out as a result of masking and proceeds to be diagnosed with anxiety, depression, and bipolar disorder. Though she has some diagnoses to explain her symptoms, Emma still struggles to feel understood for who she is and continues to have feelings of self-doubt and low self-esteem. It isn't until her late 20s after a failed suicide attempt that she is finally evaluated and diagnosed with autism or Asperger's syndrome.
But when I was 37, I got my formal diagnosis, and I felt that it was important for me to have an anchor, just something that really settled for me that this was an actual experience that I was having.
Statistics show that roughly 3 out of 4 people who are diagnosed with autism are males, while females account for the remaining 1/4. The significance of this is that I myself am a part of this statistic. Unlike Emma, I was diagnosed earlier on in my childhood with level 1 ASD presenting as one of the more mild cases. However, I still face some of the difficulties that she faced growing up, such as struggling with feeling different from my peers and masking as a result. Masking is defined as hiding autistic traits in an attempt to blend in with peers or society. Examples include suppressing stims or ways of self-regulating, practicing what to say in social situations, and hiding feelings of distress to avoid melting down.
I do see the damage that social isolation does to people regardless of gender. And I do see that people are aware of that and they care about it. I just often see cis women more willing to compromise their own well-being in order to try and fit in.
Autistic people are also more likely to experience discrimination and a lack of individual support when it comes to schools, the workplace, and their overall day-to-day experiences. Even if one is diagnosed later on, they can still experience issues such as being treated differently than their colleagues or being expected to mask certain behaviors to avoid being discriminated against.
I would work for a few years and I would kind of hit the wall, and I would start making mistakes that made things worse. And I was always really puzzled. I would look at other people and I'm like, how do you do this? How do you just keep coming to this job when it's like sucking the life out of me?
There are those who say that autism ought to apply only to cases of the most severe impairments. And there are those who would argue that people who are very verbal, who can actually work for a living, ought to have a different kind of classification.
Having access to a diagnosis could confer some benefits for at least some people in some cases. And for other people, also in other cases, that having that diagnosis on paper might actually spell harm.
On top of females being more likely to go undiagnosed, minorities and people of different races and ethnicities are also less likely to be diagnosed with autism than the demographic that is most likely to be diagnosed earlier on, which is white boys. This can also be as a result of being held to different standards than the majority, and they may be forced to mask in society as a way to avoid discrimination or harassment. This also correlates with some of the issues that different minority groups have faced in society over the years and continue to face to this day.
Someone who's autistic and also a girl, someone who's autistic and also transgender, regardless of specific gender, someone who's autistic and a person of color, is experiencing more than one form of discrimination.
So this brings us to the question. If you were a member of Congress, what issue would be your first priority? Well, in order to decrease the amount of girls and women going undiagnosed as well as the consequences of it, we must first look into the root cause of why females are less likely to be diagnosed and how we can recognize telltale signs that may be symptoms of ASD.
If we want to help people get diagnosed earlier, we need to train educators, we need to train psychologists, psychiatrists, therapists, pediatricians for sure, in what autism can look like when there are more subtle signs.
We have a lot of work to do in our disability services systems and in enforcement of existing disability civil rights laws.
While our main goal is to decrease the amount of girls and women going undiagnosed, we must also unlearn the internalized ableism that contributes to society's stereotypical views of autism. We must also provide training to both therapists and educators on how to adequately support students who are neurodivergent. With that, we can improve the overall well-being for individuals like myself, as well as other females who are diagnosed or exhibiting traits of ASD.
Nice job, Zoe. Well, that was it today's show. Reporting for RNE-TV Live, I'm Layla Price.
And I'm Zoe Beecraft. Have a great weekend, and remember, it's a great day to be a Cavalier.